Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1407 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Advantaged Investor Podcast from Raymond James Canada. Valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focused on long-term success. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mic debut, and he brought me a black coffee, so already I like this guy. It's Rodrigo Fernandez-Stoll.
Yellow.
Welcome, Rodrigo. I want to roll my R's with that.
Rodrigo. Rodrigo.
You know what? I can sometimes roll them, sometimes I can't. I'm having trouble here, but thank you for the coffee.
Oh, no problem. I was having a blast trying to drive around this area, but also remembering, because I went to Humber College right here. So,
you know, Mono Whales went there. Did you know that? Mono Whales?
No.
Okay, well, that's a modern rock band you hear on like
I've
Indie
heard of
88.
them,
Yeah. And Rick Emmett was a teacher there. This is the stories I've been told. But you know the hood then. Okay, you know that Police Academy was filmed on that campus.
Yeah, they told us that on the first day. It was... I think that was part of the curriculum.
Yeah, that's. I listen every time I walk there with my kids, which is pretty often. I have to tell them that boring story. Commandant Lassard, he lived or worked there, and this is where they filmed it. But it's part of Toronto history.
I always wanted to be Hightower.
Yeah. Well, he was a football player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was like an NFL guy, and I remember he was driving that really like way too small car along Lakeshore, like right in this neighborhood. If you watch the first Police Academy.
I wish cops were that funny now.
That's right. Mahoney, right. That was when cops were funny. Absolutely. Hey, my friend, so I was introduced to you by a good FOTM named Brian Dunn.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brian. That was really nice.
So how do you know Brian?
I know Brian through, I make a lot of my relationships through Instagram because I do a lot of like social media, a lot of comedy on there. I do live stuff. I act, but I interact with people through there. And Brian was kind of nice enough to, start chatting with me, and then he let me know about this, and he hooked us up, and yeah, thanks so much.
And you got booked. That's exciting for you. Now, he has a nice note that will give people a little context. So you're an actor, you're also a musician, you do a lot of cool stuff, but some big names off the top. But first, quick question, so I think of Brian Dunn as an extrovert, right? I think Brian Dunn's like a people person. He's very outgoing and everything. Like, do you consider yourself an extrovert?
I'm half and half. Sometimes I can talk to anybody at a party. I can walk around. I love chatting with people that I have no idea about. Especially during Christmas, actually. I did that a couple of times, and a few people walked up to me being like, hey, so, you're chatting it up with everybody. Thank you so much for doing that.
Work in the room.
And I was working the room, and I can do that, but I do have the odd day where I'm like, I'm going to stay home and watch... Saltburn.
So you can, I watched a bit of this Golden Globes yesterday, and I actually had never heard of Saltburn. Like, I'm way out of the loop on all this stuff. But there's a few movies I am very familiar with. There's a great movie I want you to see if you can. It's called Blackberry. This thing is great. Okay, so let me read Brian Dunn's note for you, Rodrigo Fernandez-Stoll. I like that you got the hyphen in there too, like Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
Yeah, Spanish German.
Okay. Yes, Stoll is, okay. Fernandez. Okay. So is this like a mixture of your parents' last names?
Great grandparents. Most of my dad's side was from Spain, and they were coming over from, it was Spain, and then the other half of my dad's side was coming from Germany.
Okay.
Too many Fernandezes.
Right.
And they thought we better hyphenate. And hyphenating is like a normal thing in Hispanic culture.
Right.
Right. So like you get a lot of hyphenated names because
Like Arancha Sanchez Vicario, right? Like I don't even know, does that name mean anything to you? Arancha Sanchez Vicario.
So you can say that name, right? But,
yeah.
Okay.
I said your name, right?
No, yeah, you did.
You actually, before I press record, I want the FOTMs to know you did compliment me and said I got it.
Yeah,
I nailed
you said
it.
right.
So.
But you were saying it like you were like, oh, I mess up names all the time.
Well, I do. No, I do mess up names all the time. But Arancha Sanchez Vicario was a tennis phenom back when I used to pay attention to tennis, which is like late 80s, early 90s. And I remember the story was like she took her mom's name, and this was part of this is when I learned that, okay, that's commonplace in Hispanic culture. Like I learned all this from tennis. See, tennis can teach you things.
Yeah, like my mom's side is Ambrosian y Collas.
Okay, I can't do that one. All right, that's good.
So it's like Italian, Peruvian. Both my parents are Peruvian, so they were born in Peru.
By the way, Basement Dweller wants me to know on the live chat. We have a live chat, live.turmeric.com. That Saltburn was great, and I do have it on my list. Like I just learned about it last night, so that's where I was going there. Okay, because I went off on a tangent. But I only learned about Saltburn yesterday. But I also learned that I wanted to see it. But a movie that I have seen and quite enjoyed is Blackberry. And I'm just going to read a note from Brian Dunn, before, so we can find out why you're saying thank you. Upcoming FOTM Rodrigo is in Blackberry.
Yes.
I'm going to pause for applause here, and then I'm going to finish it. But that's amazing. We're going to talk about that off the top, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Barack Obama put it on his list of movies you have to see.
Very cool. First time a president has ever said anything about anything I've done.
Well, I heard W was a big Kim's Convenience fan, but we'll get back to that later. Okay,
He was.
So,
I sent him a sweater.
So Brian Dunn says you're in Blackberry. We're going to learn about that. But also, he points out, he says, also, his co-star in Pricilla was nominated for a Golden Globe. That's a big year for you.
Yeah, I got to watch Kaylee Spaney on TV last night. She was nominated. That was really cool. I got to hang out with her for like a month while we were filming Pricilla.
Where'd you film Pricilla?
We filmed it in a studio in Mississauga. We filmed it there for about 3 weeks, and then we were on location in there. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many places look like Graceland here in Ontario. But we filmed most of the gate stuff was in a house in Ancaster, and then the exterior from the house, there's a place in Coburg that looks like it. So
I'll bet.
Yeah, that time was crazy too, because we shot that right when it was getting very cold in November. And I don't know how it happened, but we lucked out with the warm weather.
But like, you're in my basement right now, Rodrigo, and you're in 2 critically acclaimed films from the 2023. Like, this is massive.
Yeah, that was really
because
cool.
it's soaked in. Like the praise that you see a movie like, let's talk about Blackberry. Like, who are you in Blackberry? How did you get that gig? What do you think about the critical acclaim that seems to be following Blackberry? And it's not just, like Toronto Mike. Of course I'm going to be into Blackberry. It's like in my backyard here. But, Barack Obama. Almost as impressive as a Toronto Mike endorsement. Barack Obama. Like, give me the 411 on the Blackberry experience.
Well, Blackberry was made by Matt Johnson and Jay McCarroll, who everybody who, I mean, I've known about Nirvana the band, the show, for a long time, but they really do have just this incredible following, and they came up with, I guess, I don't know how long they had, managed to have the rights to write it or anything, but they wrote this script based on the book, and Blackberry basically just was them being able to do what they do on Nirvana the band, the show, with Glenn Howerton and Jay Baruchel.
Wow.
It was really cool.
He's a Toronto guy now, right, Jay?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I think so.
Yeah, he's great.
Sorry
no, but I mean, making that movie was the comedy community here. Well, the film comedy community here is pretty tight. So we all know each other. We know what we've done. Everybody kind of has this like, it's a very tight community. So when they started auditioning for that, I think I really did push for auditioning, but you don't really get to pick what you audition for. But luckily, I ended up getting to read for that role, and Matt was in the audition. I think Jay was there too, but casting too. And yeah, it was a really, really good audition. And also, actually, it happened a year before we even actually made the film, because I know there was a little bit of delays in there. But as soon as we were able to do it, I think I got a phone call from Jay McCarroll. I got a phone call, or I got an Instagram message. I don't really remember, but I remember him saying...
It's a communique.
Yeah, I remember him saying, hey, great job. We loved it. You're going to play Jack. And then, And then when it started happening, I found out I was going to do it with Glenn Howerton, who's, just the coolest guy. I'm a big Always Sunny fan, so when I walked into it, I thought, don't ask him any questions about it. Always Sunny, and
can we
just
get off
cool.
black cars already? That's what you were saying.
Just be cool. Don't mention the Dennis method. And he was super nice. We got to do some really, really great stuff together. They let me improvise a tiny bit, but really Matt kind of knows what he wants, and Jay too. So they really just kind of lead you along the way, and I got to look cool.
So for those who haven't seen Blackberry yet, even though now that it's on Obama's list, I feel there's a number of film lovers out there just checking it off like it's on their list. Like I just have that list for, what's it called again? Saltburn? That's what's on my list, right? Okay, I got to see Saltburn. Okay, I just learned about it. But Blackberry, so who's Jack? I played
Jack Manishin, this guy who works in the marketing department, basically. Jack Manishin introduces Jim Balsillie to the numbers that the iPhone is racking up, and he's alarmed by it, and he's trying to warn them, but nobody's listening to him. And in the film, go see it, please, but I'm going to give you a little spoiler. So I give him this news at one of the peaks in the film, one of the peak times in the film. So when I do that, I'm pretty stressed out about it. When I was kind of reading up about this film or about this story, everybody kind of already knows this story. At least anybody who lives in Toronto. Yeah,
we lived this story.
Yeah, so he's kind of like Jim Balsillie's kind of like a rock star here. Also, my brother worked there right before that time. So as soon as I started auditioning for this, I messaged my brother. I told him, hey, I'm auditioning for this. Do you have any stories, any sort of information? And he gave me a little bit, nothing too crazy, but he was definitely telling me how, what the vibe was there when right before everything went down.
Right. Yeah, man.
So it gave me a little bit of a inside look at that, which was really, really cool. But he even saw the movie and he was like, dude, this was bang on.
Well, here, let me ask you this. So there's two movies I saw in relatively close to each other that kind of reminded me of each other, although one, which is yours, I thought was much better. But I saw the movie Air.
Oh, I saw Air too, which was really cool.
Matt Damon and who are these guys? But yeah, you know who's in those movies. But then
Ben Affleck is really
Ben Affleck, of course. Yeah, so those two, and then last night I mentioned I was peeking at this Golden Globe Award ceremony, and I saw there they are, right? So those two Hollywood stars are right there, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. But so I saw Air and I saw Blackberry, and they kind of reminded me of each other, only that we kind of went back to the 80s, and then there's there's a little bit of a biopic flashback kind of a vibe in both of them. But I thought Blackberry was much better. But when you see, the Golden Globes, how many awards did Blackberry get nominated for at the Golden Globes last night?
Oh, I don't know.
Zero is the answer. Okay, it's zero, right. But Air's all over the place.
I know, Air was all over the place.
So was that just because of the Hollywood power of Matt and Ben, and they're just beloved? Because Blackberry's the better film. I'm trying to stir up some shit here with you, Rodrigo. Let's go
I know
Matt
what you're doing, and I love it. But I keep thinking too that Blackberry has been accepted into the U.S. cycle with everything. So Barack Obama.
We were on Obama's list.
I know Obama doing it, putting it on his list, basically gives us this green light for people to watch.
Okay, so what's that moment like? So is that sort of when people talk about, they get the phone call, and they're in California, they get the call early in the morning that they're nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars or something. Like, so when you find out that Obama has tweeted this list of movies that you should see, and Blackberry is on it, like, are you guys in some WhatsApp group chat or something? Like, can you believe this? This is fucking amazing. This is going to create such awareness.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
the awareness factor.
there are a couple of threads. So yeah, there were a couple of threads. I did have some people sending me the link, sending me the photo. I thought it was really cool. I mean, the rush usually lasts for like a couple of days because you're like, okay, cool. Who do I tell? Right. I tell my mom and dad. I told a few
you got to
people.
post that on social, right?
Yeah, I posted it being like, hey, this is pretty cool. But, I mean, really, in the end, I do feel like I can only live off that rush for a little bit and then kind of be like, okay, well, on to the next.
On to the next, but you can ride that wave a little longer.
Oh, I can ride it for sure. I definitely...
That list only came out like last week, okay?
I definitely screamed in my pillow. It was great.
I will say so since you're not going to get, since I don't think Blackberry's going to get Oscar nominations and it didn't get Golden Globe nominations, I feel like being on Obama's list, that's your awareness high here. Like, this is the moment where the great unwashed are like, oh, let's find this movie. Where is this movie? Like, let me Google how to stream Blackberry. Like, that's when the Google hits first. How to stream Blackberry goes sky high.
Oh, this movie's going to just live on for a while. I have a feeling. I mean, you get enough people who are Always Sunny fans. You get enough people who just want to, like, know about this story.
Remember the 90s?
I mean, it was so cool going through that wardrobe too. I got to keep.
I could have lent you some stuff. I still have all my stuff.
I got to keep one of the suits, which was really cool. Nice. But no, people are going to be watching this. I feel like it'll just. I do hope that it comes out on VHS at some point and I can purchase it on VHS.
Remember when McDonald's? You know what? I'm realizing when I'm talking to you that I probably got 15 years on you. I don't know, maybe more, but like. At McDonald's...
You're right. I'm 22 years old.
You'd be older than that if I had 15 years on you. I'll do some math with you later. But I mean, I remember when McDonald's would have certain VHS tapes like that they would sell you for like something like $6.99. I remember Field of Dreams was one of these. But like you would buy these cheap the good movies that were inexpensive on VHS at McDonald's. Just a little nostalgia for you there.
Oh, I remember that for sure. Okay. I actually remember all the McDonald's like mugs that they used to have for like Batman Forever and all those movies.
Okay, well, the original Batman from 1989, I can tell you, was Burger King because I used to go. I have memories of going to Burger King. There was a location at Jane and Bloor, and I was going to primary school there. So like in grade 8 or something. I guess I was in grade 8 in 1989 when Batman was coming out. So I was old enough that I could leave the school premises. Do you remember this moment in your life when you're old enough to leave the primary school premises? Oh, yeah. It's exciting, right? And it's a short window, right? Because then you're off to high school. But okay, I do remember going to this Burger King, which is long gone. It became a coffee time, I think. But I remember buying like this. When I think back at how big this cup was of like sugar soda, like you'd buy like a Coke or something, and it was Batman mugs. Like so, the Batman promotion was heavy at this Burger King in the summer of '89.
I wonder when they switched over to McDonald's.
Yeah, I don't know. They got outbid there. But okay, there's some memories for you.
I was all about the McDonald's pizza.
Yeah, okay, I worked at McDonald's during McPizza era, and I used to make the pizza and serve it, and I loved the McDonald's pizza too.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know why it's gone? Because a lot of people speculate, like, who killed McPizza? What's your thought on that? Because I was there, and I know what we were told by the guy who owned this franchise.
Oh, I mean... Don't they just switch? Don't they have to switch it up every once in a while? Isn't that just the simple reason?
Like a lot of stuff stuck around. Like I don't think that was the reason. I believe the problem was it took an enormous time to cook for McDonald's food. Like so, it might be a large pizza might take 9 minutes. I think this was the time. Like these super duper ovens, you put it in, it was 9 minutes. And 9 minutes was simply too long for a food item at McDonald's, where it was all about speed. And we were told it just takes too long, and it didn't make sense because they needed things ready. And like we literally had those patties were cooked, and we'd put them in the thing, which was like a microwave. Yeah. And 30 seconds later, it was served up to the customer with their custom grill order.
I wonder who still does. I know that there's a couple of places that still do the McDonald's pizza.
Really?
Yeah.
But not in Toronto? No. Because
not in Toronto.
The zoo used to have hot dogs. Did you know that a long time ago that the zoo had hot dogs?
McDonald's
hot dogs, yeah. The zoo back when in the monorail days.
All right.
All right, we're going to go bounce around and we're going to come back. But Jeremy wrote in when he heard you were coming on and he said, cool. Cool is good, by the way. Cool. He's been hosting Dwayne Gretzky's New Year's Eve party for the past couple of years. So
cool. Yeah.
We're not skipping by. Blackberry's amazing. We'll revisit it later. Pricilla, that's also impressive. Who do you play in Pricilla?
In Pricilla, I play Alan Hoggears, which is one of Elvis's buds in the Memphis Mafia. And I smoke a lot in the film. Okay. So basically,
when you smoke, is it a herbal cigarette? Like, what are you smoking?
Yeah, they give you herbal cigarettes,
so
which are still gross. They're not as good as real cigarettes, but you can't smoke real cigarettes in the studio.
Do you smoke in your personal
I used to smoke.
Okay.
I smoked for a long time. I smoked for about 10 years.
Okay.
And then I quit.
Right.
And then, on and off, you have one every now and then. But then I was, I smoked for a couple of rolls, but this one was like day one. They told me, hey, so your guy, he smoked in real life. In fact, he smoked so much he gave himself cancer. And his nickname changed from Hog Ears to Hacker. So Sofia Coppola was like, you feel fine smoking? And I went, give me a goddamn pack a day. It's fine.
I know how to inhale.
Yeah, it was
Sophia.
fine. But it was, I smoked a good amount. I think I was smoking so much that I think one of the dinner scenes, I was smoking a cigarette and one of the actresses turned to me and said, you need to stop now. You're smoking it's too much. And I was like, not until Sophia tells me to stop. And then she came over and she was like, Rod, you don't need to smoke that much.
It's amazing that you worked with her because, she was actually in The Godfather. She played the baby that's at the christening in The Godfather.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I don't know if she has any memories of playing the baby, but that's a great scene in The Godfather. And, some say, just Brian Dunn, that Pricilla might be the next Godfather. So it's a big year for you.
No, she was great. She makes everybody on set feel like, feel important. And as you should, she makes everybody feel like a family and she makes you give a shit about the project. So.
Do you know she's related to Nicolas Cage?
Yes, I knew that. I'm a big
Can't blow
Nick
your mind
Cage
on that
fan.
one.
I'm a big Nick Cage fan. I went to his 60th birthday at the Review last night. They played Adaptation.
Oh, I thought you went to like his birthday party, like where he would be to be feted. Okay.
No, that would be unreal.
Because my mind was blown until you added that little caveat that Nicholas wasn't there.
They played Adaptation last night at the Review Cinema, one of my favorite spots in the city.
Sure.
And they had a birthday cake for him and a bunch of people. We just watched it. One of my favorite movies. One of my favorite Nick Cage movies. Okay. And Meryl Streep, actually. Chris Cooper is really good in that too. So
that is a great film. I'm going to just shout out Raising Arizona because it's like...
they're going to play that in March.
The first Coen Brothers movie, and I recorded it to VHS because we had a free preview of Super Channel. I think it was First Choice Super Channel. I can't remember. There was a free preview, and I used to record movies during the free preview, and I recorded Raising Arizona. So I watched it like 100 times, okay? Because you only had back then we only had like whatever we had on VHS lying around. But so I saw the movie an awful lot and I just adore that film.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick Cage, who is in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I don't even think he has a talking role in that, but he is credited in that film as Nicholas Coppola.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
Yep. And then he changed it because he had some famous relatives he didn't want to ride the coattails. Okay, so Jeremy's asking about Dwayne Gretzky. Tell me, because Dwayne Gretzky, they're FOTMs, and you're now, Rodrigo, you're now an FOTM. That means friend of Toronto Mike.
Oh, right on. Thank you.
So you're joining the two, there's many people in Dwayne Gretzky, but the two main guys. Who are the two main guys from Dwayne Gretzky?
Two main guys? Mm-hmm. You got Nick Rose and Tyler Kite.
Okay, so they're both FOTMs. How do you know them?
I know them through, like I said, the comedy community is pretty tight in Toronto.
I'm joking on your coffee. You keep talking. I'll mute.
No, it's okay. Cough away.
Do you know the Heimlich when you...
Are you okay for real?
That's never happened before. So I'm drinking your coffee, and then I'm gonna come and gulp it down, and then it went down the wrong pipe. And then I'm gonna choke to death recording this episode. I'm like, I don't want to fix this in post.
It's like you coughed at the exact time when I said the names, and it makes it seem like one of those guys owes you money.
I like them both. But please continue. I apologize.
No, Nick Rose, Tyler Kite, two awesome buds. They're the best. they've actually done so much for me because they introduced me to a whole new part of the community where I started out as a fan of Dwayne Gretzky. Like I was going to their shows.
Right.
And I was in the audience. I was dancing away. I would be like, look at these guys. And then gradually one of my friends, like I knew a bunch of the people who were starting to play in the band. And one of my friends at the time, she was playing keyboard for them, Robin Hatch, also a good friend. She's the coolest.
Hey.
She was actually, I think she was the one who introduced me they were looking for someone to sing Ricky Martin, Livin' La Vida Loca, and she had said, why not Rod to sing it? So I got introduced to the band that way, and then I started singing, and kind of we hit it off, and they've been nice enough to be like, Rod, would you mind, hosting? Would you mind singing this other song?
New Year's Eve, that annual event, the New Year's Eve party,
they really
is a big deal.
Yeah,
that's bigger than being in Blackberry, okay? I would lead with that. I'm like, I host the Dwayne Gretzky New Year's Eve party.
It really is my favorite way to ring in the new year because I get to just be around a bunch of like good friends. I get to, I invite some folks to the show. I get to have my parents watch the show online, which is really good. Relatives from all over the place, but I guess I just get to be a goof off for the night, and I love it. It's really, really fun. And then on top of that, they let me do a song with them, which it always ends up being the most stressful part of the night for me because you're on stage with all these incredible musicians, incredible singers who are just killing it all night. And then you have this goofy comedian dude come on stage and try to do a song. And there's just so welcoming with it. No matter how, I do think I do a pretty good job, but it is stressful. And then I always look around and then they're always giving me the thumbs up, telling me, you're doing great. We're here for you. And I'm like, God damn.
What song are you doing? Like, is it a Springsteen song? What are you doing there?
No Springsteen for me. In the years I've done, this year I did YMCA. I've done Hero, Enrique Iglesias. I've done, one year I did Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. These are different shows. I'm not just New Year's, but I did, one time I did Counting Crows, Mr. Jones, and I dressed up like Adam Duritz.
Adam Duritz, yeah.
This was a while ago. So the dreads, yes.
Did he date Courtney Cox?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Okay.
He dated
that guy
everybody.
Overreached. That's great.
I did. That was actually one year where in my act I was doing Adam Duritz impression because I can sing like him, and I can do it pretty well. So I was doing it, and then they had asked me, "Do you want to do Mr. Jones?" I did it. I walked out on stage like him.
Wow!
And I sang the song, and it was so funny because people had raised their phones and people thought it was him. And
wow.
I thought it was like,
but you're not rocking the dreads, right?
I did rock the dreads at the time.
Okay,
I mean,
like a wig?
Yes, I did a wig, just like him. So I was doing an impression of a guy who was wearing dreads.
What do you think of the guys?
Which is now culturally insensitive, and I know. So please, anybody who's gonna tell me that,
unless you have
I know that already.
Roots. I don't know your. Maybe you have.
No, there was no. At the time, it seemed like a fun impression, but now, yes, I do understand that I don't do it anymore.
Do you remember the Doughboys? Do you have any memory of Doughboys, a Montreal band, alt rock '90s band?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so John Kastner was rocking the dreads too. Like I look back now, and it's like there was a period of time. Absolutely, I remember guys from high school. Shout out to Cynthia Dale who went to my high school. But I remember guys from high school who I just want to shout out an actress who went to my school, so I can feel like I'm in this acting community that you've got going on here. But okay, so I remember like a guy, he listened to a lot of Doors. He was totally a stoner, and he had the dreads, but he was a white dude, right? And we didn't think too much about it. There's Adam Duritz, he's doing it. We just mentioned John Kastner from Doughboys, but there was definitely this period of time, like in the 90s, when white dudes thought it was okay to rock the dreads.
I mean, I don't think it was just the 90s. I think early 2000s. I think.
I did that right.
Still people
made it into
doing
the 2000s.
it.
All right.
But it's you got to just realize that it's there's no point in doing it.
Don't do that, right?
Sensitive. It's fine.
Yeah. You can do German jokes and you can do Hispanic material because you have license.
I mean, I don't even think I have that license. I don't know, but who knows?
Because this guy who hosted the Golden Globes, I want to ask you about this guy.
Yeah.
John Poyd or Coy? Do you remember?
Joe Coy.
Joe Coy, yeah. So he has a Netflix special. So my wife is of Filipino descent.
Oh, nice.
So she's definitely put on the Joe Coy stand-up stuff. His big go-to thing is to do like his mom's Filipino accent and kind of make fun of like being raised.
Oh yeah, he does that a lot. In
like
his
he leans
act,
on
yeah.
that. I actually don't find
He did it last night. He did it last night in his
Right.
monologue. Yeah.
So his mom is, he's got license because his mom is Filipino, and he mimics her and kind of laughs at, like, we were raised like we were in Manila or something, whatever. But that's his shtick, and I don't think he did very well last night. Even my wife thought he did terribly last night.
I mean, you're for the type of crowd, he's probably, and he got asked 10 days ago. He's probably just.
Did you hear his line where he kind of goes, I didn't write all these jokes.
I know.
But, the ones you're laughing at are the ones I wrote. Like, he very quickly threw the writing, whoever's writing on this program, he threw them under the bus very, very early. Like, I think he sensed that there wasn't a lot of laughs coming from that crowd.
Yeah, I know. I mean, realistically, like, if you get hired for something 10 days before the event, it's gonna be a shit show.
Well, can you explain that to me? Why? I didn't even dig into it. But what, did somebody drop out? Like, did they have somebody else? And they
I have no idea.
Okay.
Maybe nobody wanted to do it.
They didn't know. 10 days
Posting's
before.
hard, man. It's really, really hard.
I don't doubt that at all. But okay, so
I mean, yeah, like for a guy like him too, he's probably doing his set act. That, like you just said, he's doing it towards like a large group of Filipinos also. So they probably are loving it.
Sure.
I have immigrant parents, so I do an impression of them all the time. I did their voice when I was on Kim's Convenience. That's my mom's voice that I was doing on Kim's Convenience.
Well,
so I was doing an impression of both my parents.
I was just hoping you'd say Kim's Convenience so I could play a little of this. And we are bouncing around because I'm actually going to bring you back to the beginning and the origin story. So we are bouncing around.
Oh, not at all.
I'm kind of digging it. It's like a Tarantino movie.
This is great.
So Kim's Convenience, I watched Kim's Convenience. It's funny how Simu Liu was all over these Golden Globes yesterday because he was in Barbie.
Simu's killing it.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Well, he's in how much did Barbie gross? I mean, that's Blackberry type numbers right there. I kid. Okay. So tell me about how you got the role in Kim's Convenience. Who did you play on Kim's Convenience? And what was that experience like? And then we'll see how honest you are about how done dirty. I feel that show was done dirty because they didn't get the proper send off, the proper exit that show belonged.
No, not at all.
I had who did I have on? Shugith Varizi. Yeah. He was on the program the day that the finale was airing. He was on this program,
wow.
The day that the Kim's Convenience finale was airing, and you could sense that the cast was not happy with how this exit was occurring. But please tell me how you got the gig. Who did you play, and how was the Kim's Convenience experience?
I play Enrique in Kim's Convenience, who was the Latin man in the neighborhood.
So when Shugith wasn't dropping by, you were dropping by. Like, there were these regulars that would drop by Kim's Convenience to talk to Appa.
Very eccentric fellow. I was a nurse, a Latin nurse in the neighborhood, who I actually was only supposed to be in one episode, but they kept writing me in, which was, I was not really, every actor wants to keep working. So as soon as I got the call saying they're writing you in for another thing, they're writing you in for another one, and I was, I was loving it. It was great. When I first went in for the audition, it was pretty simple. All it was just that one scene, the gay discount scene. And I remember being in the waiting room with a bunch of other Latin actors, a couple of comics, and I think we were all kind of looking at each other being like, is anybody going to do an accent, like all this stuff? And then I said, yeah, I'm going to do mine. I'm going to do, and that's what I said. I'm doing my parents.
But that's all Paul's son, young Lee, is doing, is his dad, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love doing an impression of my parents. I do it all the time.
Do you want to give? Can you give me a little bit of it just to remind us of Kim's Convenience and Enrique?
Okay, well, hi, how are you? This is Enrique. I go into the store all the time. I like buying the ravioli in the can. Because it is, it's preserved. I like the taste. It's a little cold, but, you don't have to warm it up.
Amazing.
I do that voice all the time. I mean, it's my mom and dad. It's what I grew up on. I enjoy doing it. It's really funny. I mean, it's not even necessarily, I think, sure, you can say the sound of it is funny, but there is substance there for a lot of the people who grew up with immigrant parents.
Right.
I think it's a pretty sensitive thing when it comes to trying to like dissect why it's funny, because things are funny for different reasons.
It reminds me of like when Mike Myers would break into like a Scottish character or something, and it would be like this was his I can't remember if it was his mom or his parents, but he's the one that was kind of sketchy. He used to do his mother-in-law. They're no longer together, but a Jewish accent. That was like the coffee talk.
That was
right?
pretty fun on the SNL.
Yeah, but I don't know today. Like my question today is, can Mike Myers do a Jewish accent today?
Well, not today.
Well,
are you kidding me?
Why not? It's it's early in the West Coast.
No, I mean, no.
But it is. I mean, now Apu is gone from The Simpsons. Like, we have a completely different mindset when it comes to. I mean, like you, 100% can do that accent because that's your parents' accent and that's your ancestry, and you have license to do that. Just like when Watley. Dr. Watley converted for the jokes on Seinfeld, right? Like he converted to Judaism so he could tell Jewish jokes. Like this was the whole bit there. But
I mean, I still watch Seinfeld all the time, and a lot of those jokes, they are so funny, but they wouldn't fly in anything on television today. It's crazy to see just how far we've come. I mean, Seinfeld's like almost going to be 25 years old,
right?
Almost 30 years old.
Yeah, I'm sure 89 maybe.
But just times change, and really, I don't think there's any. We shouldn't to debate about why certain things are funny at certain moments. It's like it's so subjective sometimes with certain things where there's different crowds at different moments. But I do think that if it comes across where you're hurting more people than making them laugh, then it's wrong.
Right. It depends on where's the joke. Like, is the joke, oh, look, you sound funny? Like, is that the joke? So, like, I have a mother-in-law who sounds like Joe Coy's mother, okay? The Filipino accent. Like, I would never do a Filipino accent because mother-in-law is like one step removed, if you will. Like, if it was my mother and I were half Filipino, I would feel comfortable doing that. Yeah. But I'm not, so I don't. But I do like the character Enrique on Kim's Convenience. And a quick fun fact for you, and then I want to find out more about Kim's Convenience. But I mentioned these regular customers would pop into Kim's Convenience if people haven't seen the show. And you're one of them, Enrique. And I mentioned FOTM. Shugith Varese is another one. He would come in. But Derek McGrath played a guy named Frank. So Derek McGrath would pop in. So did you guys ever all come in at the same time, or no? That's just too much good content to have all three of you there at the same time.
No, I don't even. No customers ever cross paths.
So Mr. Meta never crossed paths with Enrique.
No,
and
Frank.
I
remember going in all the time, and I was by myself in a waiting room to go in, and then some PA or AD would come in and grab me and go, "Okay, we're ready for you." I would go do my scene, probably 2 or 3 takes. That's how good they were, actually, which I really loved. They'd let me kind of fool around. They'd let me improvise. If something wasn't working, they would let me know. All the directors were really good. And Paul was just the coolest, sweetest guy. Right. He's just so funny.
I've seen him at Jays games.
He's just the best. He just, and the first thing he does when you get there is like, he lets you know, like, so good to see you and let's have fun. And then we would go and do it. And
he was so good in that role too.
He was really good. Like we had chemistry, and once you have that stuff in scenes, I'm not saying it's not work, but it just doesn't feel like you have to work that hard. You're kind of just like, oh, that's right. Like, this is fun. Like, this is funny. So let's just do it. And you add your little stuff to it, which is really good. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And I only went in twice. I'd go for 2 days in a season, like I would go in and work 2 days out of the whole season that they would shoot. So a lot of people are always like, yeah, you're part of the show. Like
Sure.
how many episodes are like, you must have had a great time shooting. And I'd be like, I was there for a day.
Right. That's right. It's a good point.
I left before lunch.
Quick fun fact about Derek McGrath, which I think is a fun fact. So Derek McGrath is the reason Andrea Martin was a part of SCTV, because they were dating, and then so Derek is the reason Andrea found herself in Toronto, and there was a show going on called Godspell. There's a whole yeah, and then SCTV was casting, and so if I ever get, and I've had conversations with Derek to get him on, because he was in a sitcom I used to watch with Jerry O'Connell, My Secret Identity. Did you ever see this show?
Oh yeah, flying with spray cans.
Okay, good. So if I ever get Derek McGrath on, I'm going to dive into the Andrea Martin origin story. He's a big part of it, but I digress here. How did you feel about the way things ended on Kim's Convenience? It didn't feel like we had a proper finale, a proper goodbye.
Oh, I don't think anybody was happy about it. I got a phone call while I was driving around, and yeah, I just remember getting that phone call, and it was very quick. It was just one of the producers called me and said, hey, you're going to hear about this news, but the show's done. Sorry. And yeah, it was really fun to work with you. And then that was about it. I thought something horrible had happened, but no, turns out it was just, differences in whatever you want to call it, creative differences, or maybe production wise. But I think, yeah, it sucks that it got that sent off. But like I said, I was only there for like a day out of the whole season, so I didn't really know the real drama or whatever you want to call it. I just had a good time when I was there. Everybody seemed like they were having a really good time when we were shooting. I didn't know about everything else that was happening. So when I heard that stuff, I was like, oh shit, sorry. Right. Okay, well, I'm happy that I got to like be part of it. So that was about it. But
yeah, it went was it 5 seasons? And in a nutshell, the creator of the characters. This is based on a stage play, I guess. There was
Inns was like the nicest guy to me. So whatever he was feeling,
he owned the rights to he owned the intellectual property that were the characters from the play, and he simply was done with that project. So CBC didn't own these characters. That's why CBC can't do it without his consent or involvement. But there are characters added in the show that weren't part of the stage production, including Shannon Ross, for example. So CBC could take those characters and spin them off. So this was the attempt. Nicole Power played Shannon Ross.
Yeah.
So there was I remember catching a couple of episodes. Tony Nappo, who's an FOT.
Yeah, she did
Strays.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think Strays is being made anymore. But that's why the only spin-off of Kim's Convenience could be the white girl. Because that's all CBC owned.
That's not true. They could have made an Enrique spin-off.
Okay. He's not in the stage play.
To this day, I still think they could have done that.
You could have dropped into Strays, but
hey, I was just there for one day out of the summer. Whatever. Yeah, they could have done something with Enrique, but whatever. Like you said, pick the white girl. It's fine.
It did. The optics were bad, but when you dig in, you realize why it's happening that way. But it's like, oh, this is a great show. Korean, Canadians, and this wonderful diversity. And there's this white girl that works at this like car rental place. She gets the spinoff. Like, it did look bad, but then you find
she is very
CBC
talented.
owns her.
Nicole's awesome.
Sure.
I was very, very happy for her. So that's great. And she wasn't the only one who got another show out of it. Andrew Fung, he got Run the Burbs
but new
out
character,
of it.
new character, right?
New character. Yeah, you're right.
Not a spinoff. Now, quick, interesting point on the live stream, and I'm going to ask you about it real quick. So the exterior of Kim's Convenience is an actual storefront at Queen and Sherbourne in Moss Park area of Toronto. But you filmed in on a set. They had the
in a studio off of Lakeshore. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So it is. Some people might not know that you didn't film at Queen and Sherbourne. That's just exterior, and then you did the interiors at a studio in. Yeah,
the exterior one on Queen Street, the actual store, is a little scary.
Moss Park is a tough neighborhood.
Yeah, someone got like stabbed there. Like, I think
I get nervous biking it.
A week into one of the years we were filming, someone did. But I mean, everybody in Toronto knows how scary that area is. Like, you don't walk around that area by yourself at night. You know that, right? So
No, it's very sad because there's a lot of addiction and
I mean, all over the city. I'm going to say all over the city there is, but I mean, yeah, I'm saying that's why we didn't film there. So
right. They're wondering aloud in the live stream that with the development going on in Moss Park at Queen and Sherbourne, what will happen to Kim's Convenience, the store, the actual store? You can actually go there today and see it. It's actually there. So we'll see what happens with
yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see if maybe all the people on the live stream, if you can email CBC and say, hey, we want to see an Enrique spinoff. There you go.
Here's a quote from the live stream. By the way, I'm going to make that happen, okay? My first time seeing Rodrigo was on the show Ghosts. Plays an obsessive podcaster. Okay, that's a role I can relate to. So let's go to your origin here. We've already talked about these two big movies you're in 2023, Pricilla and Blackberry. And then we talked about Kim's Convenience, which I think everyone listening knows Kim's Convenience and has caught a minute or an episode or two. Probably just the ones with Enrique. But tell me about like your origin story. You said you went to Humber, but is Ghosts one of your early roles, or is that
no? Ghosts was actually right before the pandemic.
Oh, so Kim's
or actually
is
not right
Ghosts.
before the pandemic. During the pandemic,
Okay.
I ended up. When was that? I ended up
2020 till the present day.
Yeah, during the pandemic. Isn't it funny how the pandemic? I still think it's like 6 years. During the pandemic, I ended up getting a phone call because I had just done because I do Son of a Critch also on CBC, so I do that show, and I was filming
That's
that
a big show.
Yeah, that's a great show. Mark Critch is the best. He's so cool. I ended up and Malcolm McDowell, like what a guy. He's
that's the import to the big name, great actor.
I ended up I was doing that show, and then on my way back home to Toronto, I got an email from casting for that show Ghosts on CBS. They're like the nicest people ever. They sent an email saying, hey, we're looking for a replacement for this character because the actor that was supposed to do that character, Todd, is sick. So we need like an emergency casting right now.
Right.
And I guess my name was dropped in there, and they said, can you be in Montreal in the next like 20 hours or something? Can you make it here now? And I said, yeah, let's do it. So I had just gotten to the airport, Toronto. I was on my way home, and then they said, can you go back? So I went to Montreal, did like a fitting. I don't remember if there was like any sort of test or anything, but I remember just I was waiting on approval from the producers and everything. And then they had said, hey, you got the part. You're going to be playing Todd. And then the next day I was shooting for like 2 days. And that was, it was
CBS.
super cool. Yeah, it was really cool. CBS was.
That's wild.
Yeah. They were very, very nice. So I got to
Isn't
do
that the home of Murder, She Wrote? I feel like this is a big deal, CBS.
Murder,
60
She
Minutes
Wrote.
and Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Older demo, CBS, right? They're the ones watching TV.
What's the Dick Van Dyke one? Prognosis Murder.
All these shows that I know about but have never seen. Although I watched a lot of 60 Minutes, but
Matlock? Was Matlock on CBS?
Well, that's Abraham Simpson's favorite show. That's how I know that show. I've never seen Matlock.
Yeah.
I'm sure I would love it. But
yeah, anyway, so I got that role, and then they were nice enough to write me into a few more episodes throughout those seasons. And they just started shooting again in the last, I want to say 2 weeks. And they're that whole show, they're like the best people. They're so supportive. Nice. Just a bunch of cool actors all getting together, but very, very nice people. And I was so happy to get that because it was a really, really funny character to play.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. The live stream is entertaining me today because there's a comment. He's the kind of podcaster I would probably be, obsessed with a woman from the 1920s. All right. Okay. I'm obsessed with a woman from the 2020s. So very good. Okay. Now, you mentioned you were jumping on stage singing and with Dwayne Gretzky, of course. Now, I'm going to just tease it right now because there's going to be a segment of this conversation which is going to be very heavy with music, because I'll just tease it that you've got at least a couple of full-length comedy albums, musical comedy albums.
Three comedy albums.
It's more than a couple. Okay, Fog and Lasers. So I'm just going to tease it right now that there will be a Fog and Lasers segment complete with some audio that I'm going to actually play. And I'm very excited to learn about Fog and Lasers. I just have a few more questions about the acting. What's the first big role? Like, what was the first role that you were really proud to tell your friends about? Like, hey, I landed a role in Murdoch Mysteries. I made that up. Okay, have you ever been on Murdoch Mysteries?
I have. I was just on Murdoch Mysteries this year.
Rite of passage for a Canadian actor.
Right on. Yeah, you have to.
What about Hudson and Rex?
Hudson and Rex, I did.
Can I tell you quick?
I played a chef.
That's wild. I knew you were on Hudson and Rex. Okay, because yesterday, my wife is like, oh, the Golden Globes are on at 8 o'clock. And she's like, it's on City TV. And then we were going to pause it because we have a couple of kids that have to go to bed around that time. And then, so I go to City TV at like 7:50 p.m. or something so that I can have it on the station to pause it with this, whatever. That's a lot of detail there. But anyway, I actually saw, and this is the first Hudson and Rex I've seen in my entire life. I saw like the conclusion to this episode of Hudson and Rex. They were like in a museum trying to there was a snake, there was a snake on the loose, and this woman had a fear of snakes, but she had to capture the snake. I watched this last night. And the dog just barks, and then they talk like, oh, what's that? Is it Hudson or Rex? Who's the dog? Rex.
Rex.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so they're like, the dog will just look off in the distance, obviously looking at his trainer, and go, woof, and then this woman will be like, oh, don't worry, Rex. We've got it taken. We're way ahead of you, Rex. We're like, this guy Rex, he just barks, and they respond to it. I'm like, this what? And then the snake was the worst CGI snake I've seen, like since the 90s. I'm like, it was really bad CGI. I'm like, that's not a snake. This is like some cartoon snake they superimposed. This is no criticism of Hudson and Rex, except to say I had no idea really what it was until last night when I watched.
No, I think every Canadian actor needs to do Hudson and Rex once to know what they're getting into. Whenever a young actor is like, can you give me some advice? I say,
right. You do Hudson and Rex.
You got to
so do Murdoch Mysteries.
Murdoch, Hudson and Rex.
What else is on that list of must-dos for a Canadian actor?
Well, that, and then Degrassi was one for a while, but I never got on Degrassi, so
you missed your chance.
Screw them.
Fuck Degrassi, right, Rodrigo? By the way, I'm an OG Degrassi guy. Okay, shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Joey, Jeremiah, and Snake, and
they're great.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home because Wheels gone far too soon. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Port Hope. I can't. You talk about going to Montreal. I drive it. My daughter lives there, so I'm driving the 401, and I see the big green sign on the 401, and it says Port Hope, and I can't see the sign without thinking, oh, Wheels' dad lives there.
That's
Wheels'
funny.
dad lives in Port Hope. Okay, so rest in peace. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. By the way, Ridley Funeral Home did give me something.
Oh.
To give to you, Rodrigo. Your friends call you Rod?
Yeah, everybody just calls me Rod.
So I have to call you Rodrigo.
You can call me whatever you want.
You can call me. Don't call me late for dinner. This is a measuring tape for you, courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home.
Yo, thank you.
Pillars of this community since 1921. You look healthy.
So this is for measuring the corpses.
We got to know what size casket to get you there.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So enjoy that responsibly. Do you enjoy, speaking of enjoyment, do you enjoy Italian food?
Oh God, yes. I love. I was just in Italy in May.
What part of Italy?
I love Italian food. Well, I went to Rome. I went to Florence. I went to,
I've been to both those places.
Pia of Ligure, Genoa. My mom's like ancestors. My ancestors are right outside of, in between Genoa and Milan.
I've been to Milan.
I'm trying to remember it's in like a small town there. I was supposed to go there when I went there, but it just didn't work out timing wise because I was going to try to find a birth certificate of one of my great grandfathers, but it was too much work, and I was in beach mode.
Well, Italy is like I'd go there for the food. I mean, we have great Italian restaurants here, including Palma Pasta, but I love Italy, but the food is amazing, right?
Oh, the food was unreal. The food was incredible. And you know what? Mm-hmm. It didn't hit me as hard here because you walk like 20,000 steps a day there.
That's it.
At the end of the day, my girlfriend and I were like, how many steps did we do today? It was like 24,000. And I'm like, we had a full lasagna today.
Yeah, that's the trick, man. You got to keep on moving. Like Dick Van Dyke says, keep on moving. Keep on moving. Okay, but I have a large meat lasagna in my freezer for you, Rodrigo. So that's an empty box, but it will be full when you leave here today. And you're going to love it. Palma Pasta sent that over for you.
Wow, thank you.
They're taking care of you, man. Delicious Italian food. Go to palmapasta.com. Great friends of this program. They're going to feed everybody at TMLX 15, which is going to be at 6 p.m. on June 27, 2024. And guess where TMLX, that means Toronto Mike Listener Experience. Guess where the 15th TMLX event is going to take place, Rodrigo? It's going to be tough for you. I'll give you a clue.
I'm going to say...
There's a clue in my hand right now.
At the top of... Great Lakes Brewery.
Great Lakes Brewery in Southern Etobicoke is going to host us.
Brewery.
Can you say brewery?
Brewery.
So it's just one syllable. Brewery.
Brewery.
I struggle with that word. That's why I was worried about saying Rodrigo Fernandez-Stoll.
That's the most Canadian word, I think.
Brewery. The rural juror and the brewery.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Brewery's brewery.
Right. So they're delicious. It's delicious fresh craft beer available throughout this fine province. And yeah, you're taking these fresh cans of Great Lakes home with you, buddy.
That's very nice. Thank you.
You didn't know. Did Brian tell you you'd be leaving with lasagna and beer?
I don't remember, but if he did, I totally just blanked out, but that's very sweet. Thank you. I never get to take anything home. That's really cool.
Because you keep doing things of like the CBC. And when Tom Wilson came over, he's like, Mike, and I can't do it Tom Wilson, but he loved the lasagna. Like and he came back and he's like, I do CBC. He does a bunch of CBC stuff, and they're like, they don't give you anything. There's no lasagna for you when you do like a talk show on the CBC. Like, this is where you come for the swag.
I don't think I've ever done a talk show on CBC. I don't.
You didn't do Ralph. I know you were in diapers when Ralph. Actually, you're probably like 10 or 11 or 12 years old when Ralph Benmergui had Friday Night. That was the last big CBC talk show I can think of.
What about Strombo?
Well, okay, yeah, of course. That was like he had red chairs and he would talk to somebody and get really close to them.
I feel like that would, I feel like that was like a talk show sort of thing.
You're right.
Now Tom Power, I guess, is the guy.
Well, he's Q, but that's sort of, I think of it more as a radio show. But okay, good point. So if you're on Q, you won't get lasagna, is what I'm telling you. But you get it here, there, Rodrigo. Okay, now I had on a very funny woman named Carolyn Taylor on the program.
Oh, yeah, Carolyn. I love her.
Why am I bringing up Carolyn Taylor? Because one of her more recent, high-profile projects was the Baroness Von Sketch Show. And you were a regular, right?
Yeah, I owe a lot to those hilarious ladies.
Well, this is the place. Best. Like, they're all listening now, and this is your chance. Like, tell us how you got that gig and what, like, when they needed a dude, you came in. What was the deal?
No, like I said, the whole comedy community, we're all pretty tight. I think it's a very small community. I mean, there's small in the sense where we just all know each other. Like, everybody just works together all the time. You do shows outside. So yeah, I ended up just getting the call because. I think at the time, which I forget which the first sketch was that I did with them. But I remember, I remember one of the really fun ones was, the hydration one that I did with Aurora. And that one was really cool because I got to just improvise and I slipped on some piss. It was really good and everybody liked it. So.
And now you're in a movie that Obama put on his list. See how it happens? You put in some reps.
No, but Baroness was really, really fun. They were like the best. But the one I think that I always get messages about to this day is Dinks, where I play a stripper. And it was a spoof on Law and Order.
Okay. But by the way, they're making a Law and Order Toronto. Have you booked a gig there yet? Your agent's working on it.
I'll throw my name in there at some point. I know that
like filming it right now. Like you could get the call tomorrow.
That's one of those shows that's just going to have like 28 seasons. So you know that they're going to go through every single actor in this country.
I'm pulling that clip, so when it's canceled after one season, I can say, well, bad take by Rodrigo. What happened to Law and Order?
I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I feel like it is one of those shows that you're just kind of like, yeah. I do remember at least one that didn't get a long Law and Order.
But yeah. Right, but you're thinking of like Briscoe and Logan, like you're thinking of like, right, and Stone and the glory days there. I used to watch it on A&E every night. I think at 11 p.m. every night on A&E.
Oh, that's wicked.
Back when A&E had good stuff, and now who knows what's going on there. Okay, so we're gonna find a little more about your acting life before I get to fog and lasers here.
Cool.
Because it's such a fascinating aspect of your career. You're more than just a pretty face acting in front of the camera.
Thank you.
And some say you're not even that. So I can say that because you're a buddy now. Okay. So I got to ask you about a movie. I'm trying to think of how to frame this. So it's a long trailer, but I feel like this is important. Like, you're a guy who needs to work, right? Like, so you're not just you're not one of those guys like, who's the Irish guy from My Left Foot? Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, you're not sitting there and saying, I only do scripts I know are great and amazing. Like, sometimes you just need to work, right?
I'm a yes man. I say yes to everything.
Would you ever say no? Is there anything that's like a legal proper show? Like, we're not talking anything in the dark web or anything that you would say no to, or no? So you need to work, and then sometimes you'll get a Blackberry, and sometimes you'll get like this movie. I'm gonna play a trailer.
Well,
for
I think. I mean, I will say, like, I did audition for those films, but I mean, at the end of the day, I also got them. I feel because of that reason, where I do work a good amount, and I know how to come into a project, and I have a reputation where, I feel like I can add to whatever I jump into, but I think that's what it is. Like I said before, trying to give advice to younger actors, you start off literally with nothing. You have nothing on your resume, nothing in your reel. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to see you. Nobody cares at all if you call yourself an actor. You just got to do it. And that's what you do. And then you develop a reputation for doing that thing and having a skill. And I feel like that's what you have to do. And it's just years and years of just constantly doing it, auditioning, going for it. And I feel like that's how I've been part of a community. And, that's why people like Baroness are just, so well known and hilarious, and they're good at what they do, and they got a show because they had this reputation of just being these like 4 hilarious women. But yeah, I think that's probably the best advice is, say yes to everything in the beginning. Obviously, like, say yes to fun stuff. You don't have to.
But sometimes you got to pay rent, right? Like sometimes you got to buy food. You can't, you want to go shop at Palma Pasta.
When you're first starting, you can't just do acting. Like, there's no way you're just doing acting jobs the whole way. You're going to have a part-time job.
Is that like waiting tables?
I did waiting. I worked in construction. I worked in, I did data stuff. I worked for film festivals was a big one. I worked for Hot Docs Film Festival, which they were super nice with me. They were great. Amazing. But yeah, I think I did construction for a long time. So I had a lot of buddies who have their own construction companies, and they would give me the odd job. And you would have that one time where I'd be like, I have this audition at 1 p.m. Can I leave right after lunch? And then, my friends were nice enough to let me go. And then they would literally let me go and fire me because I just couldn't come back.
This is like isn't this the plot of Good Will Hunting? It's like, every time I come pick you up, I hope you won't be here. Is that the plot? That's
my
it all
life.
Comes back to Matt
That's
and Ben
life.
Affleck, right?
That is my life.
So I could be like I don't know what they call foremen. Who are these guys on the construction site?
Yeah, foremans. Yeah.
Okay, because I was a foreman for a jury once on a murder trial. That's a great story. Okay, I don't even know if I'm allowed to tell that story actually, but I can say I was a foreman on a jury. I'll fix it in post. Okay, so I feel like there's that foreman. He's like, every day I hope Rodrigo doesn't show up because one day he's going to be in a movie that'll be on Obama's list of films you need to see. And he'll also do Pricilla in the same year, which was probably like almost on Obama's list because I hear good things about Pricilla. I haven't seen it yet.
Pricilla is really good. I would recommend try to see it in a theater as soon as you can. It's still probably in a couple of theaters, in like some of those indie theaters, but...
Right, the Kingsway maybe or something.
I'm a big fan of seeing movies in theaters. I don't watch movies at home a lot. I like watching them on the big screen.
Do you watch your own movies in theaters, or is it just with the premiere?
I took my parents to go see Pricilla for sure.
Okay,
I
want to know about this one. I'm going to play a trailer, and it goes a couple of minutes, but enjoy your coffee, listen. You can talk over it if you want. I don't know how cringy this will be, but I want to know: did you take your parents to the theater to see this? I want to know everything you can remember about the filming of this. I want to know what you thought of this. I've got questions about this movie.
Please
you ready?
Ask away about anything.
It's the calm before the storm. Here we are.
Nicole, I'm opening up a new place in Mayfair. If you want the job, you're going to have your visa changed. And that means you're going to have to go back home.
I have to go home?
I know, I feel your pain.
The last place I wanted to go back to was
Our Little Italy.
where nothing changes.
You're so thin.
What happened to her wrist?
No one trusts a skinny cook.
Get in there. How's it taste?
Just like home.
Little Italy is not big enough for me and you.
When did all of this go from crazy
What'd you put in the pizza today?
Always the same, the best.
That's not oregano.
to insane?
It's not oregano.
You play Danny Aiello in this movie.
Love has been at work.
Can I get you a drink?
So who's kicking your ass at soccer these days?
So we take this outside?
It's raining.
Afraid you might get wet.
Oh my God, did I just say that out loud? Our sons, I think they're on to us.
What are we, spies?
This is a very movie trailer
There's no
song.
Italian saying I learned from my nonna.
Andrea
If you
Martin,
want
right?
it,
I
you have
feel
to
like
put a ring on it.
it's going full
What
circle
was your
here.
grandmother's name? Beyonce?
No, Bianca.
My father would consider this the highest form of treason.
What's that, the pizza? Or us being together?
Both.
It's kinda complicated.
No. My dad is gonna kill me. I mean, I slept with Vince's son. Oh my God.
Yeah, you were saying that a lot last night. Everything's more special now that you're back.
I'm sorry, I can't.
No,
I've worked
you're-
too hard to come back to this. You know, there's a reason why they call it Little Italy. Because nothing ever changes here.
I actually don't get that line. Can you remember to come back to that?
Do you love
I don't
him?
get that line.
Doesn't
There's
matter.
a reason they call it Little Italy. Nothing changes here.
Like a little town.
What are we
Gotta
doing?
punch this up a
I'm
bit,
not a
okay.
kid anymore.
Leo, you can take the girl out of Little Italy, but you can't take Little Italy out of the girl. Show her what she's missing.
Mi amigo, you and Nikki, you like Romeo and Juliet, huh?
Romeo and Juliet died.
That's a bad example.
Good acting by Hayden Christensen. That guy was Anakin Skywalker.
Andrew Fung is in there too.
Oh, yeah.
He plays Luigi.
Okay, shout out to Running the Burbs. Okay.
Yeah.
Please, this movie is, I think it's 2018, I want to say. It's called Little Italy. And you're in this film.
Oh yeah, I'm like an airport security guy. I'm pretty sure I'm like I do a Latin accent in this too. Oh man, this was a shit show. Tell me, ask away, please.
Okay, so just little context here. So the male lead is Anakin Skywalker, Thornhill's own. I believe he went to Thornley Collegiate. 'Cause I think Cam Gordon and
He went to
Stu Stone told me
UHS
that.
also.
Which is, what is
Unionville High School. He went to
Okay.
Unionville High School for Arts York.
Okay, so Hayden Christensen himself is the male lead, and then the Emma Roberts, who has a famous last name.
Yes.
There. And there's like Danny Aiello shows up in this.
I got
Andrea
to meet
Martin.
Danny Aiello. that was like I got to meet him and I got to meet Andrea Martin.
Wow.
And I was like,
She's royalty.
I was starstruck. I walked outside one day. I was having a coffee. Danny Aiello was petting his dog. I walked right up to him and then he had said, "How you doing?" I said, "Great." And then I just stood there being like, "You are the coolest guy." And he went, "Let's take a photo." And then
Oh my God.
I got to take a photo with him and I was ecstatic.
He's from Do the Right Thing, for goodness sakes. Now, he died in 2019, so that's
I
like one of
know.
his final film appearances. Is you being on Little Italy with you?
Yeah. We got to.
Okay.
I got chatting with him. He was the nicest dude ever.
Okay, also making a kind of a cameo in this, I think. I gotta admit, I haven't seen the whole thing. Okay, I just know enough to be dangerous here. But Alyssa Milano's in this thing. Did you meet her?
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She was
First,
awesome.
I think she might be my first. It was Daisy Duke and then Alyssa Milano. Like these are first crushes for me.
Oh yeah, but she also gives off. She's so smart. She's very smart. She loves talking politics. She's very, very involved.
She's gonna watch Obama's list.
Yeah, she's. I would say. No, she's really, really cool. And she also knows how to handle herself around everybody because she does have a lot of fans.
Okay, so this is
that
all
are
the good
just
stuff.
all around her the whole time, just staring at her. And she was like, "Yeah, can I help you? Do you want to take a photo? What's up?"
Okay,
Like,
that was
she's
just
there.
me. I
She's
biked
cool.
around it.
She's
Yeah.
tough.
Okay, so Linda Cash is in this. You know, she was in that Philadelphia
know
cream
Linda,
cheese
yes.
campaign as the angel in the clouds.
She's the best. Linda's the coolest. I did a couple shows with her. I did The Amazing Gail Pyle with her also on CBC. She's great. And Linda was in Seinfeld. So you know that I was like, Linda, please give me any story about working on Seinfeld.
Okay, before we get back to Little Italy, I want to congratulate you because you were part of the production team that was nominated for the Amazing Gail Pyle. And when I say nominated, International Emmy. So you're part of the team that got nominated.
Yeah, it was nominated for an International Emmy for web series, for best like international web series, and we all got to go to the award show in New York. I got to meet Steve Coogan, which was really cool.
Very good.
But those are probably some of the best and funnest filming days when it came to like filming a project. Like we did 5 seasons together.
Amazing, but enough about that happy-go-lucky memory time. Let's go back to Little Italy for a moment here. So Little Italy, just so I understand this is Toronto's Little Italy, right? Like Toronto's playing itself here, right?
Yeah.
Even though from what I've seen, like it's not Little Italy.
Wait, right? Was it? Or was it New York?
I saw I think in the trailer, I saw the CN Tower. Like that cameo, we forgot to take out the CN Tower.
I have no idea.
I think it's Toronto's Little Italy.
I'm going to say, I have never actually seen the movie.
You haven't taken your parents to the theater to see Little Italy?
No, I did not go see Little Italy. And you know what? I think I got an email saying, I remember that I got an email saying, we're having a premiere at Scotiabank Theater on this day, like cast and crew. Mm-hmm. And then I remember emailing them going, hey, so can I come? Can I get 2 tickets? And they emailed me back going, sorry, we're full. And that was the last interaction I had with Little Italy.
Well, Kate, you kind of did a little chuckle when I introduced Little Italy. Like, so did you know you were in a shitty movie? Like, was this did you guys think you were making a good movie?
No, I do. You kind of know, you know.
But like, even the trailer, which, did Hayden Christensen purposely do
He's like the nicest guy ever.
I know, I understand. I think I would like the guy.
No, he's great. He's cool.
Just like, but that's not a great performance. Like in the trailer, I find.
I think you don't necessarily know you're in a shitty movie.
And does he have Italian descent? Can he play that role? What's going on here?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't want to speak for anybody else.
All right. Well,
I know Andrew. I do know that Andrew Fung has like a bunch of Italian incest. No,
no. What do I know?
No. I just know that you kind of know that it's a wreck while you're filming. But I feel like as the actor, you're just like, man, I just need to work. I'm doing my thing. But you kind of like take a look around and you're like, what is everybody else thinking right now?
Did you have any chats? Like, do you sit down with like Linda Cash and say, hey, Linda, what do you think of this movie we're making? Like any of the Jane Seymour is in this thing.
No, you don't. Oh, I saw Jane Seymour. That was cool.
That's a big deal.
She's stunning in real
I
life.
bet.
I was like, yo, she walks into a room, everyone stops what they're doing. It was crazy, man. That movie was also nuts because it just felt like, you ever do, I mean, I don't really have these types of projects all the time, but that was one of those times where like I sat there watching things happen where I was like, is that legal? Like, there's a guy setting up electric cables in the rain outside for this. Are we really doing this right now?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone got electrocuted outside while we were filming.
Don't you think that, and maybe it's been done, again, I apologize if I'm stealing an idea accidentally here, but don't you think a mini-series, like a podcast just all about Little Italy, like don't you think there's enough meat on this bone to do like a series?
That's a great idea. And
you want to do it with me?
Oh, buddy.
I need an insider. Do you know Christina Rosada? And
I do know Christina. Yes, I do know Christina.
Adam Ferreira.
He was super nice. That guy is the nicest dude ever.
So a bunch of nice people can make a piece of shit, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's not the actors. The actors are just going in there because they need that paycheck. But Adam, he was walking into the trailer all the time when people were there and saying hello to every single person all the time. And that type of guy where you're like, wow, you're super nice and you give off the most positive attitude no matter what is happening. Because he knew there was a shit show. So he was like, I'm going to say hello to everyone here today because we're all going to be in a bad mood by the end of the day.
But your check's clear and you live to fight another day. And then in the future, there'll be a Pricilla.
Yeah, you kind of, I feel like a lot of people go in, but you never know really how something's going to come out. And I thought this one was just, there were certain things happening where I was like, well, yeah, this is like we would finish a take and the director would come up to me, say something.
Donald Petrie.
Yeah, he was interesting, but
I know what interesting means.
Yeah, he was interesting, and he would say something to me, and then I would just be like, okay, and then I would not do what he said, and then I would just keep going. But yeah, you get times like this.
This is like a Mom, What's in Orgies film. Okay, so that's a very inside reference.
Right
shout out to Stu Stone here. We speak our own language here. We just did an episode where we explained to you the glossary of terms on Toronto Mics, so you can catch up. People should check that out. The last episode before this one. I just saw the clock. I can't believe it. I actually thought, I'm gonna have a nice hour chat with my new friend Rodrigo, and I realize now I should have booked 6 hours with you. I got more Little Italy. So we'll leave Little Italy, but you know we talked over the trailer, but there's a line in the trailer, like it's a big moment in the trailer, where Emma Roberts' character says, there's a reason they call this place Little Italy. It's because nothing ever changes here. So that line is like, they give it like almost a heartbeat of like silence. Like this is supposed to be like one of those thought-provoking lines, like, and you're supposed to think on it. There's a reason they call this place Little Italy. Well, it's because nothing ever changes here.
She's referencing fascist Italy.
Mussolini.
During a time where it was illegal.
The brown shirts.
It was illegal to think differently. No.
Okay, that I was like, let me entertain this. But I watched the trailer a few times. I pulled the clip, made sure it sounds. So I've heard the line many times, and you kind of explained it over the trailer, and then again we got to move because I gotta talk to you about fog and lasers.
Right on.
I have to. Okay, and I have a recording for a client because I got to pay my bills. Right, that's my construction job, and every day I hope Rodrigo doesn't come to work because that's the day he landed himself Blackberry. Okay, so by the way, did you ever own a Blackberry?
I never owned one, no, but my family did. My dad owned one.
You were Blackberry adjacent.
My brother owned one, yeah.
Right, I had a Blackberry. Okay. Explain that joke to me. Not that you wrote the joke. You don't need to explain it to me. But I really think that we have a moment of like, that's supposed to be a big line, and I don't get it. Like, there's a reason they call this place Little Italy. It's because nothing ever changes here. What the fuck does that mean, Rodrigo?
I think the writer was trying to say something that just didn't come across the way.
Then why put it in the trailer? Like, there's a lot of shitty lines in movies that just don't make the trailer. Like, this is such a big moment in the trailer.
I think if
I'm angry with you now.
Yeah, I think if you're making a movie about dueling pizza places, you're not really thinking of the
Romeo and Juliet, right? They're remaking Romeo and Juliet. Remember that Simpsons line? It was like Romeo and Juliet, only it ended up in tragedy.
It was it's I would say it's not supposed to be.
You don't need to explain yourself, Rodrigo.
No. I'm going to be thinking about this for a while tonight. So
okay, because you thought maybe it would. I mean, you had a hypothesis there. But if anyone listening, if any FOTM listening can explain to me the joke, I just want to know what the joke is because I don't need it to be funny, but I need to know what the joke is. I don't think there is a joke there. But she says, there's a reason they call this place Little Italy. It's because nothing ever changes here. But I don't get what it's trying to... It doesn't make sense to me, that quote. And I was in the gifted program, Rodrigo, okay? I went to a special school one day a week for special students who are gifted. Okay, gifted. I want to point that out. That's an important detail there.
Okay.
There's a reason they call this place Little Italy. Then I'm going to go to a fog and lasers because I want to make sure we get a photo and I got to give you a lasagna and then I got to record this thing at 3 o'clock. There's a reason they call this place Little Italy. It's because nothing ever changes here. Does it make sense to you?
No, it doesn't make sense at all. The movie doesn't make sense. And you know what? I'm gonna go in favor of the movie and say I don't think the movie is supposed to make sense. And I think that's what they were setting out to do.
Genius.
I think it's an art piece. And it's reflecting
meant to piss off podcasters
it's
like me.
reflecting the times and what type of world we're living in where pizza. Okay.
I'm going to play you off now.
Read the news today, saw that medical advice to stand 6 feet away to save a bunch of lives. With all this information destination, I still choose to go. Grab my sweats and get on with my workout schedule. I think I'll go for a jog, really craving a run. No one seems to be pissed about my distance from them. You can't get mad at me when I run on by. It's not like there's a killer virus outside. I'm a piece of shit jogger, so close to your face. I'm a piece of shit jogger, I keep on running by. I'm a piece of shit jogger, so close to your face.
I'm a piece of shit jogger.
Really,
Talk to me.
I mean, really, the COVID aspect, I guess you could say, like, you know, it's a sign of the times. But I do have a hatred, like full on, 100%. I do have a hatred of joggers. I hate them. I really do.
Especially when they run in packs, right?
Oh, they run in packs.
come around
There's like a Toronto runners club here that's
Right.
terrible. They're
There
terrible
was an article
people.
in the, I think, CTV News. My buddy Mark Carey sent it to me like a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
There was an
they're
article about you're turning the
terrible
corner
people.
and there's a pack of runners and they just bowl you over and it was like
Oh,
a
they're
gang
such
or
bullies.
something. Man, it's scary.
What
Scary.
and the people that, like, it'll be the busiest time of the day and they pick that major road to go down. No, yeah, I mean, that's from the second album.
Dangerous.
That whole album I made during the pandemic.
Well, what is Fog and Lasers?
Fog and Lasers is like a collab between musicians, comedians. It's if I ever have any jokes that I want to turn into songs, it originally turned into a project, a musical project, after we did the song. Oh, there you go, Ethereum.
Crypto network, what is that you ask? It's called blockchain check.
This was a song about the moment I bought into Bitcoin. And then I just thought, you know what, this is a scam. But this chorus really hit
How much
it.
money did you sink into Bitcoin?
Ready?
Ethereum, is it up? Is it down?
You're gambling, man.
Yeah. No, I really didn't drop that much money into it. It was, I'm going to say at most, I think I put $300.
Okay, that's just playing
Yeah,
around.
I just
money.
I just
All right.
played around with it,
Right.
but it was only because I had a couple of people be like, "You gotta put
Dude,
some in."
I talked about this recently with Mohit, who came by. He's a runner, by the way, but he doesn't
Yeah.
run in the packs. But yeah, I never understood it, so I didn't touch it. But I had so many people tell me, you got to get in on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Crypto's the next big thing. You got to get in. He said, you got an extra $1,000 that you won't miss? Throw it into Bitcoin. Like, I'll be a multi-millionaire like Daddy Warbucks. or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay, so I like the sound of the music, but it's comedic. So this is like your Lonely Island, am I right?
Yeah, I wanted to do something that was considered musical comedy, but I hated the term musical comedy, and I hated being put into a group where you thought, oh, this is what musical comedy sounds like. And I just started writing some music, and like I said before, I was hanging out with my friends Dwayne Gretzky, Tyler Kite, who was a big part of this.
Right.
He was helping me write stuff all the time. Nick Rose is on one of the tracks.
Wow.
On the new album called Sad Dad. But we were
It's a funny title.
we were all just kind of recording a bunch of different songs, and then the very first one that I recorded, and it was kind of like, oh, is this a thing? I recorded a song called "Whip Your Dick and Tits Out," and we turned it
Family
into
friendly ditty.
Yeah, we
ditty
turned
bit.
it into a dance song, and it was really fun. So I decided, hey, maybe we could do more of these, and it just kind of snowballed where I was messaging a different musician every day saying, hey, do you want to write a song together? I have this idea.
Amazing.
And then I would go over to their place. We would write something. It just kind of, it blossomed into this thing. And I think that one has about 16 tracks. And then after that, that album, the pandemic happened. And then I made a pandemic album because I just did everything from home.
Fog and Lasers too.
Yeah, I would send everything, different files to all my friends, and they would send me back things. And
Right.
then this last one that just came out last year, 2023, was kind of the serious one because, like I said, I hated the term musical comedy because I kept being told, oh, this isn't really musical comedy. These are like real songs. And I'm like,
Right.
come on, guys. I'm like, it's all music. It's like, it is real
It's
songs,
just like
but it can still
Corky
be
and the
funny.
Juice Pigs for a modern era.
Yeah, exactly. And then I decided to kind of say, okay, let's not make this musical comedy. Let's just try to make real serious
It
songs.
sounded good. Like musically, it sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And then if you listen to the lyrics, it's funny.
Yeah. So
I dig it, man.
Thank you.
So where does the name Fog and Lasers come from?
Fog and Lasers comes from, I did a show at Comedy Bar for 3 years called Fog and Lasers. And it was like every second Wednesday or something of the month for 3 years at Comedy Bar. And it was a show I did with my old comedy partner, Jillian Bartolucci. And we would
Good Irish girl.
Yeah. And we would...
I did the same joke of Gino
That's
Vanelli.
funny.
That was my opening for Gino Vanelli came over here. He sat down there and I go, Gino Vanelli, I go, it's Irish, right? That was my opening.
That's good.
I should be a comedy guy too.
And we did that show once a month for about 3 years, and we would kind of change it up every month. It would be like one show we would do musical acts, another show we would do stand up, another show we would do sketches, and then more and more I turned it into a musical kind of performance. And now like I would just do songs at the shows more and more, and then I had songs lined up where I'd be like, maybe I should record these. So I went over to my friend Chris Renix. He has a studio. We started recording a little bit. And then I started recording a little bit more with like Tyler Kite and all these guys. And yeah, Dwayne Gretzky kind of helped me out because they were recording a lot of stuff. My friend Jill Harris, she and Meg Contini, they are on a song called Yarmer Yager. Which is about the hockey player Yarmer Yager.
Oh my God, man. The originator of the mullet.
Yeah, and they were amazing to record that song with me because they sound like the Andrews sisters.
Okay. Love it. I
Really
didn't get that
cool.
reference. Bump, 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 bump. Mr. Sandman. Okay. I want everybody to go listen to some Fog and Lasers and just know the guy behind Fog and Lasers is an FOTM, man. It's this very
Thank
talented
you.
actor. So you're a talented actor, talented music guy. You're funny. I'm obviously falling in love with you, Rodrigo. This is unbelievable.
This is awesome. I get to walk away with a lasagna. I'm so
And
excited.
You know what? Rapid fire conclusion before I play us out. And just before I do that, did you lose all $300 on the Bitcoin, or did you get out?
No, there's still some in there. There's
Okay,
still.
so what's the
there's still
value right
some.
now of that $300 investment?
Oh, I don't
It's
know.
like
I'm going to say there's
$30?
probably like $140 or
Okay,
something.
look, you're hanging in there. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you cash out and you realize you're a very rich man like Daddy Warbucks, you're going to go subscribe to the Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James Canada. It features insights from leading professionals. It'll provide valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focused on long-term success. Again, it's called the Advantaged Investor. It's from Raymond James Canada. It's hosted by Chris Cooksey, who's a guy you would love. He's a good guy. He's a sweetheart, as we say on the program. And if you have any, recording gear, mics, cables, anything that's broken, and you're like, I got to throw this in the garbage, don't do that. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in your address, and it'll be like, hey, dude, a block away from you, there's an accredited depot where you can drop that off, and it'll be recycled properly, and those chemicals will not end up in our landfill. So those are some marching orders for you, Rodrigo. Okay, rapid fire. You ready?
Yeah.
There's a reason they call this place Little Italy. It's because nothing ever changes here. That's going to haunt me. I got to figure that out. Okay. What's the best thing you've ever been in? Like TV or movie? What's the best quality production that you've ever been in, Rodrigo?
Pricilla. I got to work with one of the best directors ever. She's the coolest. Sofia Coppola. Yeah.
Easy for you. Now is Blackberry second?
Yeah. Blackberry was
You're having a good,
was up
you
there
are
too.
having a good year.
Yeah, that was
You've
a
been in
great
the game
year.
for a long time, and look at this 2023.
I'm going to say almost 20 years.
So what's next? Where do you go? Now you've got to be like a guy like Simu Liu who is going to be invited to the Golden Globes and the Oscars? Like, that's what's next for you, right?
I don't think you, I mean, it would be cool, yeah, but I don't think you like set out for that.
You're the next Paul Giamatti.
I don't think that's what you aim for, right? I think it's more just, I want to have a job. So I think that's kind of the goal, is you want to work.
Well, I'm going to get you in the next Stu Stone production. He just directed his most recent film, but I think he's got one a year he's going to knock out with his brother-in-law. I'm going to talk to Stu about getting you in that.
Right on.
So the best thing you've ever been in is Pricilla. People should see that in the theater while they can. Would you share with me what you think might be the worst thing you were in, and why is it Little Italy?
Probably Little Italy, just because I felt like... because I wasn't invited to the premiere.
Really? Your role was too small. They couldn't afford that ticket.
You know what? Shoot me a comp. One comp ticket.
Right.
I didn't even care about a red carpet or anything. I just wanted to sit in the theater. I'm a big theater guy, like I said.
They made you buy a ticket.
Oh, they didn't even say that. They were like, we could put. They didn't even say we'll put you on a waiting list. All they said was, sorry, we're full.
Like, we don't want this guy near Danny Aiello.
Holy,
right.
Okay.
Jane Seymour says to keep this guy 150 meters away from her is what she said. By the way, Detention Adventure. You had a supporting role in that
those
too.
guys are the best.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
so
they're the best. Go watch that show. Really cool.
What's the best thing that you didn't book, but like you were close to? Like, is there anything that you were really close to, but you didn't land the gig, and you think that was the best thing you almost were in?
Actually, one of the cool things I was also in, I just want to add, is What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, those are my comedy heroes. And I got to do a tiny, tiny little role, but a good joke. It was a great joke in there, and that was more important. But yeah, those were...
Was the joke, there's a reason they call this place Little Italy. It's because nothing ever changes here. Was that the joke?
No, but now I'm going to make t-shirts with that quote on it.
And you can do that because you can't like trademark these words.
That's
like
so
you
funny.
can use the words, and you could totally do that. Okay, before we say goodbye, I'm probably gonna see you again, hopefully at TMLX 15
Right
at
on.
June 27 from 6 to 9 p.m. Everybody listening is invited. That's at Great Lakes Brewery in 7. It's funny I'm promoting it now. We just started January, for goodness sakes. But is there anything that you were on your way here? By the way, thank you for the coffee. Anything you're like, I want to mention this, or I want to tell this story, and never got, like Mike didn't prompt for it. Like, this is your moment.
Nothing much really. I mean,
like, what's next for you? Can you tease anything you're gonna like coming up that you think is pretty big deal?
actually, I'm doing a show right now at Comedy Bar on Bloor every Sunday of this month in January. I don't know when this is airing.
It's good. I'm good, dude. Before you get home, this is in the feed.
Oh, this is great. Okay, so if you're in for
I called
it,
you dude because I was so like upset that you thought I might put this on a shelf or something, and it's like, I'll drop this in February.
every Sunday of this month, January at 9:30 p.m., I'm doing a show called In Rod We Trust. I do some stand-up, I do some sketch, I do some music, and I have some special guests. Please come out. Comedy Bar. It's a bunch of goofy material, stuff that I don't even think maybe is completely funny, but it might work. It might. But last night we did our first one, and it's every Sunday of this month at 9:30 p.m. at Comedy Bar. Please come on down. You can get tickets at comedybar.ca.
Everybody, come check out this wonderful. Well, now he's an FOTM. He's been hiding in plain sight, and now we have him. Thank you, Brian Dunn, for the intro. Are you I know you mentioned you're a Seinfeld guy, but are you a Simpsons guy at all? Like, did you ever watch The Simpsons?
Yeah, before season 10.
Okay, well, good, because before season 10, there was a great episode where Homer went to space.
Yeah.
Right? And at the end, remember, the hero was the inanimate carbon rod. Remember this?
In Rod We Trust.
In Rod We Trust. So when you're talking about In Rod We Trust, all I can picture is that inanimate.
I mean, that's kind of where
rod.
it comes from. Yeah.
Yes, I know. We speak Simpsons on this program. All right, Rodrigo, thanks for doing this, buddy.
Thank you so
Don't leave
much.
without the lasagna. Make sure we take the photo. I want a nice photo of you in front of the TV. The tree. I almost said in front of the TV. In front of the tree. And I'm
Cool.
sorry that I almost choked to death on you. We
that
almost
was
had to
great.
call Brad from Ridley Funeral Home to come pick me. You're like, Brad, come pick him up. He expired recording with Rodrigo. Who would here? If I did die, if I did choke to death there, who would drop this episode?
If you died, who would drop this episode? I'm going to say the entire 1992 Dream Team for USA of the Olympics.
Christian Leitner. The Dream Team, he's the guy I wanted to shout out. Christian fucking Leitner. What a handsome son of a bitch he is. And that brings us to the end of our 1,407th show. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky, I'm at Toronto Mike. Please tell us, Rodrigo, how can we follow you or your Fog and Lasers project? Where would you like us to go on the World Wide Web to follow everything you're doing?
Follow me on Instagram at Rodrigo F. Stoll. That's where I update everybody on anything, and sometimes I post a sketch or a song.
I'm going to tag you on the photo of us that I'm going to be
Awesome.
sharing via Instagram in about 10 minutes. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery. All that beer is yours. Palma Pasta. I'm going to grab it from my freezer. Recycle My Electronics. Raymond James Canada. And Ridley Funeral Home. Don't forget your measuring tape.
I put it in my pocket already.
I'm dropping an FOTM KOTJ episode. Songs you loved that you didn't initially know was a cover. That's dropping tomorrow morning. Don't you dare miss it.
'Cause I know that's true, yes I do.